on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate you hanging around here this morning and being with us for TGIF as Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora proudly comes to you today and bringing you our trio of fantastic segments that we have every single Friday, as well as a very, very special conversation with Tortora here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You're listening on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and you're watching on facebook.com/livenowdt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as connecting with us on wakeupcalldt.com. So however you're tuning into the show, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast as we get set here to bring you, like I said, our trio of topics for the day inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. First topic that we have inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' is the annoying moment of the week. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, will be coming to you in just a second as we get set on some of the things that have been on my mind this week, and we'll get into those momentarily. And then we'll get into LEAD, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. That acronym created for you today and every single Friday to speak on how we can help one another, how we can learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. And all of that coming to you from Juanita Ward and myself, Dan Tortora, as we look to inspire you every single week. Talk about faith, talk about community, comedy, love, joy, perseverance, dedication, determination, adversity. So many different things we get to talk about. Today's topic is a walk in the park, and we'll talk about what that means to us. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and that at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll get into the top dog of the week. Top dog will be announced, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And that top dog of the week is going to be Gina Castelli. And Gina Castelli, as you see her picture here, as the final piece of our MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' list of topics for today's show. Gina Castelli will be joining us around 10. Well, actually, we'll honor her at 10 o'clock, and then a few minutes after, she'll be joining us for a video special to remember with so many different topics and things we'll be discussing. I cannot wait to speak with Gina Castelli and be able to share that with you, the video conversation that we're about to have. What an incredible coach, what an incredible human being. And you know that someone's important to you when you remember the first time you met them, where you sat, and some of the things you talked about as well. So Gina Castelli will be joining us in just a little bit, shortly after 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And in the meantime, we'll get into our three segments. That's our trio of segments. The TGIF trio is coming to you right here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside the Cafe Kubal studios. So let's get it started. Let's get it popping. And so inside of What's Poppin'. And I hope you're having a great day. I hope we're finding you in positive spirits. If you're not, well, we hope to uplift you. And if you are, we hope to lift you higher. So thank you for listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thank you for being here today, as always. And every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. However you're connecting with the show, we appreciate it so very much. And, of course, finding us on social media at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, and at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram. So, without further ado, it's now time for us to get into the annoying moment of the week. Proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. It is what happy tastes like, and it's the longest standing segment that we have here on the show. It's always a lot of fun to do. So if you've never heard it, you're in for a treat. And if you have, well, you know what's up.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week for this week here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I have a couple. So one of them is the incredible annoying, frustrating sore throat that I have. Now, this weather, this time of year, it gets me. It usually gets me in some way, shape, or form. Now, I am vaccinated. I've gone through all of that. But this time of year, when it comes to allergies, it likes to wreak havoc. And sometimes I feel it in a big way. Sometimes it's more mellow. It's been more mellow this year as far as pain. But for those of you that have allergies, you understand that it can attack you in different ways. Some people sneeze a lot. In my case, my throat feels like it's cut, and my ears and the back of my ears, like the tubes that go down from your ears that drain into your throat. This feeling, and it literally feels like someone sliced my head in between my ears and my throat. It's a great feeling. So wonderful. I love it so much. And so yeah. So for those of you that are struggling with allergies, I get it. I understand it. And it's been pretty mellow for me. I felt it a little bit in January. Then it went away. But if anybody knows me, the sore throat and like pain in the ears, like I can't deal with either one of them. And I'm having them both right now. So that is a frustration for me. So it's an annoying moment of the week because I have to clear my throat on the show. I have to, have these Ricolas close by so that I can take care of myself. And so, it's not crazy. It's obviously manageable. I can speak, but it hurts. And at night, things get worse. And so I tried to sleep, and then it didn't feel great when I did that. So just not fun overall. So for those of you that have allergies, like I get it, I feel it, I understand it. They're frustrating. It's very upsetting. And it hurts. So my best to everybody out there fighting a good fight. Know that you are not alone. And that, we will get through this. And to the people out there that are like, so paranoid about, obviously the pandemic and everything, some of us just do have seasonal allergies and moments where it affects us. So please understand that, some of us have to deal with these allergy things every year. And the body changes. And it definitely has its effects on us. So here's to prayers that I heal. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. I pray and I hope that myself, as well as anybody else that's going through a tough time right now, that we heal from whatever's going on, including allergies and sore throats and all that good stuff, that we heal completely and for good, and no matter what, that we heal through you, God, and handle well whatever comes our way. So that's my prayer. In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. So I appreciate you giving me a second to do that, because it's hard. It's hard because it comes out of nowhere. And it just kind of attacks you. And, God willing, you just power through it and it goes away. But it's very frustrating because it doesn't feel good by any stretch of the imagination. So that's one of my annoying moments of the week. My other annoying moment of the week has to do with Tim Tebow. Can we please stop attacking this man? Please. He's done nothing to anybody. I don't know of anything he's done to anybody. I don't. Now, I've met him. I've spoken to him. I've seen his good manners and his nice nature. And I appreciate that. I am sick and tired of people. Well, if Tim Tebow gets a chance, it's not racist. It's not racist if Tim Tebow gets a chance. It's not prejudiced if Tim Tebow gets a chance. Tim Tebow has a connection to Urban Meyer. Okay? Tim Tebow is a Heisman Trophy winner. Okay? Tim Tebow has won multiple national championships. Okay? So, Tim getting on a team, he has a resume. He has the opportunity, if it presents itself, is not because he just knows somebody, okay? He still has to make the team, all right? And I'm sick and tired of, not Tebowing, He's praying. It's got nothing to do with Tim. It has to do with his relationship with God. But he's Tebowing. That's what people said. He's not Tebowing. He's praying. Okay? Stop over-sensationalizing things and trying to make stories out of nothing. It's frustrating. Okay? It's bad enough that this world can't all be nice to each other. Don't find problems where problems don't exist. Okay? And some of those problems, people have these issues with Tim Tebow. What has he done to you? What has he done? He's a nice person. Does that frustrate you? Well, then be a nice person. He believes in God. Oh, does that make you uncomfortable? Well, then maybe you should consult your conscience. Tim Tebow's not hurting anybody. But people consistently have to talk about him. Put him in the tabloids. For what? What is he doing? How many years have you tried to find something wrong with him? And there is nothing there. So, it's an annoying moment of the week for me. Because people are using... I don't like when people compare people. You should never compare yourself to anybody. And this Tim Tebow comparison to Colin Kaepernick is ridiculous. Well, if Tim gets a chance, then... No. It's got nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick. Okay? It's got nothing to do with him. Colin Kaepernick, mind you. Okay? If he wants to play, then he should suit up and try. If he wants to do it, he should suit up and try. And the NFL should give him a chance, just like they gave to Jamarcus Russell, just like they gave to Tim Tebow, just like they gave to Vinny Testaverde for 105 years. Okay? Now, if Jim Brown wanted to come back and play football and they said no, would you consider that racist? Jim Brown is an older man, and he's walks with a cane. I don't see any prejudice there. If they say, hey, Jim, you're 70 whatever years old, you probably shouldn't play football. Sometimes people look for problems where problems don't exist. Or they create problems in order to create a narrative. Colin Kaepernick has done a lot. Okay? He took a knee when it wasn't popular to take a knee. He stood up for something that he truly believed in. And there's a million different things that connect to that. Was it the right timing? Should he have done it during the national anthem? When he did it during the national anthem, it kind of lost its message. So he could have done it before. He could have done it after. I mean, there's a million things that people could say. But in the world we live in today, people want to over-sensationalize, and they want problems. They want there to be an issue. They create issues where issues do not exist. So Colin Kaepernick has stood up for real issues, right? That's what we want to believe. He stood up for real issues. Issues that need to change about equality in this country, and I agree with that. But you cannot connect that to his ability as a football player. Colin Kaepernick was found out in the Super Bowl when they played against the Ravens. Colin Kaepernick, after he was figured out, was never the same again. His completion percentages weren't high. People figured out how he played. They got it. They understood it. Tim Tebow, on the other hand, was doing good when he was with the Denver Broncos. He won a playoff game when he was with the Denver Broncos. Now, both of these quarterbacks have won playoff games, but they're different, okay? Tim Tebow has a connection to Urban Meyer. Tim Tebow, again, has won championships with Urban Meyer. He's from Jacksonville. There's a lot of reasons why they could sign him, but he is a talented player. Tim has never shown that he's not talented. He's just, honestly, I think GMs and people have stayed away from him because they don't like the lightning rod that people created. You created. Some of you out there made this. Tebowing? Tebow didn't create that. Scapegoating him on all this stuff and all blah, blah, blah. I mean, some people didn't want the fanfare. Okay, and I guess that's where Colin and Tim are similar. Teams didn't want the fanfare of Tim Tebow talking about God and connection to God and faith in God and all this. It's like the more that there was God, it seemed like teams moved away from him. Well, Colin Kaepernick, people didn't want to have the knee and the social justice, so they moved away from it. Is it right? No. And if Colin Kaepernick wants to try out for the NFL, really try out for the NFL, not stage anything, not talk about anything, not platform anything, but just try out for the NFL, then he should. Then he should. Is he better than a bunch of the backups that I've seen the last couple of years? Yes. Is he a starting quarterback? Is Tim Tebow a starting quarterback? So, that's reality. Tim's not going to start if he goes to Jacksonville. It's Trevor Lawrence's team. Colin Kaepernick's not going to go back to San Fran and start. They gave it to Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think that what frustrates me is the fact that they drive these players against each other and they try to make it a color thing. And Tim Tebow believes in God and he preaches faith and positivity. I have never seen Tim Tebow say that's only for one color. The God that he believes in is the God that I would like to think that I believe in too. And that God doesn't know color, doesn't know race, doesn't know ethnicity, doesn't know sexual orientation or any of that stuff. He just knows his people. So for me, it's an annoying moment of the week because I'm sick and tired of, number one, people attacking Tim Tebow, who seemingly has not attacked anybody. And two, I'm sick and tired of making this, a race thing and making this, Colin Kaepernick versus Tim Tebow. It's not. Jamarcus Russell was given a chance a few years ago, and Jamarcus Russell is African American. Okay, it doesn't matter his color, but just for context, if you don't know who Jamarcus Russell is, he went to LSU, and he was given a chance a couple years ago, and he was like 40 pounds overweight. Okay? And if they cut him, it's not a race thing. He wasn't in shape. He didn't have a great track record when he was in the NFL. It just didn't work out. Was it a race thing that the Jets got rid of Sam Darnold? No. I mean, there are issues in our country that are real, and there's issues in our country that are not. Or I should say people creating issue or saying that it's an issue, connecting it to the movement. We need equality. We need equality. It's an understatement. Equality of race, equality of nationality and background and sex and all of that. We need equality. But creating a false problem does not bring back equality. It actually shows that you have the racial issue. Because everybody wants to jump on the Colin Kaepernick. This is the thing about Colin Kaepernick. It doesn't have to be him. That's the sad part of it. It could be anybody going up against Tim Tebow of a different color. The guy could be named Fred Smith. It doesn't matter. So, that's the thing. Is if I'm Colin, I would be like, you guys aren't even doing this for me. So, it frustrates me and it upsets me that Tim Tebow, who believes in God, that was a problem, that Tim Tebow's faith was a problem, and that people follow him in a positive way, and people follow him in a negative way. People want to see him fail to prove that God doesn't exist, to prove that there's no faith, to prove to prove that there's no good people in the world. And could you imagine the amount of pressure that's on his shoulders? If Tim Tebow was black, there'd be no conversation about it, right? Because there wouldn't be Colin versus Tim, because they would both be the same color. Or if they were both white, it would be the same thing. There'd be no conversation. So, you're not making Tim feel special, and you're not making Colin feel special. You're just creating a false problem. Colin Kaepernick is talented. But after he got figured out in the Super Bowl, he's never been the same. And his numbers aren't great. And Tim Tebow, I'm not calling him a starting quarterback either. But if Urban Meyer wants to put him on the team and use him and they're different quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick is a guy that wants to go out there and be your quarterback. Tim Tebow's a guy that'll go out there in wildcat formations and do different things. They're different players. But they don't need to go up against each other. Tim Tebow doesn't need to wake up in the morning seeing that he's like the verses of Colin Kaepernick. He's not. And Colin Kaepernick doesn't have to see that with Tim. And if anything, it detracts from the message. It dilutes it. It makes it laughable. And that's not okay. What we need now is love. What we need is community. What we need is positivity. Okay? And it should never have anything to do with color, anybody getting a job. Okay? And if Colin Kaepernick has been blackballed by the NFL, then that's an issue. And that's a shame on the NFL. The NFL is comprised of multiple people of color. So, if this was targeted toward Colin Kaepernick, yeah, it's a problem. But I think the NFL ousted Tim Tebow too. And I can argue that Tim Tebow was blackballed by the NFL for believing in God and having faith because people didn't want the lightning rod. You realize he just kind of got like pushed out overnight? So, and both of them, what have they done? You know what I mean? What did they do to get pushed out of the NFL? And they got pushed out for different reasons, but they got pushed out. So, this is not a Tim versus Colin thing. If Colin wants to try out, he should. If Tim wants to try out, which he has, he should. And if they're good enough, they get. And a team shouldn't have the pressure of that. Oh, you have to sign Colin Kaepernick because of everything he stood up for. No, I need to sign Colin Kaepernick because he's capable. Oh, you need to sign Tim Tebow because he's a positive and you'll get chewed up and spit out if you don't. No. He's a hometown boy. No, you hire him if you feel like he's good for the job. Where did we get into a world where we're not hiring people because they're qualified? We're hiring them because we're afraid that if we don't, something bad's going to happen. How is that fair? How is that fair to the people that are qualified? If Tim's not qualified, then somebody else should get the job. If Colin's not qualified, then somebody else should get the job, regardless of color, background, sexual orientation, and yada, 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 yada that people want to make this about. It's not about that. It's not about that. If Colin is talented and he has a good show better than everybody else out there, then he should get the job. If Tim is talented and he has a better show than everybody else out there for that roster spot, then he should get the job. But we should not be hiring Tim Tebow because he's a good story or Colin Kaepernick because we're afraid of what's going to happen. That's not why you hire people. I don't hire people out of fear. I hire people out of their talent. I've had people of all different colors, men, women, doesn't matter. I didn't hire them because of their color. I didn't hire them because of their gender. I didn't hire them because of their background. I hired them because I believe in them. And every single one of them that I believed in, that I truly saw something special in, they did above and beyond what I expected. To the Zachs and the JTs and the Amanis, thank you. You made me a better man. You made me a better person. You made me a better worker. I didn't hire them based on anything other than the fact that I believed in them. So if a team believes in Colin, they should hire him. If a team believes in Tim, they should hire him. But to hire them for any other reason is wrong. To hire them out of fear is wrong. To not hire them out of fear is wrong. Fear is the devil's lie. And the devil delights in the world separating itself. Divide and conquer. We're stronger together. We're better together. And I don't care what color anybody is on an NFL team or any team. I just want the team to be built with great people. I would never turn somebody away based on color, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender, whatever. How much money they have. When you're putting a great team together, a team is what? The sum of its parts. So you find the best parts that you possibly can to put that machine together. So please stop making this Tim versus Colin. It's not. And I don't think either one of these gentlemen want to fight each other. So, let's make it what it is. Let's focus on the problem that actually exists, and let's do something about it together. Because seeing Colin do things peacefully, and seeing Tim do things peacefully, I would imagine they probably work together, right? So stop making feuds with people that aren't fighting. There's enough fighting in this world. We don't need to create any other ones. I can promise you that. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, we'll be inside of Lead, Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero with Juanita Ward and myself, Dan Tortora. Coming up right after this fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvel Light. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvel Light ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt from inside of the Cafe Cabal studios. You're also watching and listening on Facebook.com/livenowdt and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt. And very happy to have our TGIF trio here inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', the annoying moment of the week, which you just heard, which had to do with allergies, as well as the Tim Tebow, Colin Kaepernick signing, not signings, and seeing what's happening there, as well as Lead, Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver, which is coming up right now, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero with my co-host Juanita Ward. And then we'll honor Gina Castelli as our top dog of the week, presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, with a special video conversation with the coach that's been with Moyne Dolphins women's basketball for 8 years and has decided to retire, and has built such an incredible, I don't even know how to describe it. She's built so much at Lemoyne. It's such a beautiful thing, and she has been a fantastic coach, an even better person, and the tribute to her hard work is seen, and I hope that will live on forever. I will do everything in my power to make sure that people know that she came through that building and everywhere she's come through, because she's been an amazing person and coach. So with that being said, speaking of an amazing person and coach, Jackson State Tigers women's basketball assistant coach for D1, Miss Juanita Ward, is here with us right now, a Syracuse WNBA and overseas basketball alum as well, and she joins us for Lead every single Friday right around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. So let's bring her in. Juanita, how are we doing today?
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
We're doing well, and as you know off the air, my allergies is part of my annoying moment of the week. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I don't know what I'm going to do. So, Juanita, either I need you to help me find some allergy medicine or just give me like a big club. You know Bam Bam, that club that he had?
Why don't you just do what Popeye the Sailor Man did? Just go drink some beans or something.
Well, the thing is Popeye always had his spinach, and I got a can of spinach yesterday, and I ate it, and I still don't feel good. So I think Popeye was a liar. You know what I mean? I think Popeye told us a lot of things, like, eat your spinach. I'm like, nah, man, that wasn't Popeye. That was a Jolly Green Giant in the background going, like, we need to push these cans. We need to get these cans moving. So, like, you know, I know it. I know, you know, there was some commercial thing to that. But, yeah, no, I tried the spinach. I tried, you know, sleeping on my stomach so you drain everything down, you know. And now, between taking medication for it, and I did take some stuff for it, but, you know, basically, when my doctor told me, he was like, you're allergic to dust and pollen. And I said, oh, thank God. Thank God those are two things that aren't everywhere. So, like, you know, he's like, you're very allergic to dust. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm just so happy that no house carries them. It's not in buildings. It's not literally everywhere on everything all the time. So, you know, I was like, why can't I be allergic to, I don't know, purple paint? Ain't nothing in my house painted purple. So, like, I just, you know, I wonder some of that stuff sometimes, but, you know, it's fine. I have, like, the normal, typical ragweed, pollen, dust, allergies, but they've kicked into high gear, Juanita, and if anybody knows me, my throat, I mean, my speech is my life, and so my throat being sore this morning is not an ideal feeling, but I am happy to be here, so... How are you, and do you have any suggestions on what to do with this beautiful, beautiful feeling? Shout out pollen. And also, thank goodness, you know, this half hour of Wake Up Call is brought to you by pollen. But, I mean, in my backyard, I have so many dandelions that it doesn't even look like grass anymore. It looks like the Green Bay Packers end zone. So, like, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. Yesterday I went for a walk and I wore my mask, not because of COVID, because I didn't wear it because of that. And people were looking at me like, who's this weirdo? You know what I mean? Like, why is this guy wearing his shredder mask? We're out and about, you know, we're walking and stuff. I wore my mask so that the pollen wouldn't get into my nose. That's why I wore it. And I came home and I felt worse. And I was like, what in the world is going on? So I'm looking up at God right now going, I know you love me. I know you're here for me. Don't giggle. Stop with that dandelion in my backyard. There was one and then there was 372 the next day. Like, I don't understand. You know, God was like, I told my dandelions be fruitful and multiply. They did, Jesus. They did. They were fruitful and they multiply. I have the most fertile land in central and upstate New York. I have 5,000 bunnies and 1,062 dandelions. So, you know... If I ever want to have kids someday, I think I'll be fine. But I'm totally floored, and I'm hoping that God gives me an answer today to help me figure out what the heck I should take for this, because that Bam Bam Club is looking just so much, it's looking delightful right now. So, Juanita, can you hear us?
Dan, you are so funny. What, you know what? Everybody needs to just, you know, go on and buy their tickets to your show right now, because you just experienced a Dan Tortora comedy show.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
It's that, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
But it's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's like the pollen this year, like we were talking offline, the pollen this year, it seems to be so much different than any other year before now. And, you know, I mean, it's kind of like, you don't need people to tell you inside, because pollen is like knocking at your door going, don't come out here. If you come out, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess that's just the reality. You know, times are changing, and, you know, people that never had allergies before are, you know, accumulating signs of having allergies. And so, you know, I guess it's just a different thing. But Dan, you are hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. My cheeks are hurting from laughing so hard at you. Unbelievable, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I remember, I love that song, the Somebody's Knocking at Your Door, and it's like, sounds like Jesus. Not me. Not me. I know Jesus is here. He's in the house. It's like, somebody's knocking at your door. Pollen! That's who's knocking at my door. I'm not opening it. I'm not doing it. Pollen, you can't come in. I can't, little Richard, I hear him too. Somebody's knocking, but you can't come in. That's also pollen. So I'm not doing it. I'm not living in it anymore. Okay? It doesn't sound like Jesus. Jesus is in my house. We're having dinner. Pollen needs to stay outside. It's on everything. It's touching it. It's like soot. And when I can't see it, I can feel it. I'm just, and this is my other thing too. I love bees because they make honey. But they bother me. They always make nests around they come to the front of my house. I don't have any trees. I have no trees. None. You would think the bees could go to any tree. Literally any tree anywhere. There's so many of them in central and upstate New York. These bees go to the front of my house. They go to the back of my house. Today, there was a bumblebee yesterday flying around. I go, this ain't your house. This ain't where you live. This is not yours. This is mine. So do your thing. I'm not buzzing around you. Do you. Go to your tree. Do what you got to do. I'm going to take care of my house. When I'm going in my front door and I've had a long day, you don't need to be standing next to me going, let me in the house, let me in the house, let me in the... No, I'm not going to do it. Okay? So I love honey, but I got a problem with bees because they don't act right. And I got a problem with pollen. So I don't know how to make this all work because in order for me to get my honey, I need them all to work together. But ain't nobody knocking at my door that I'm trying to let in right now if it starts with a P and it ends with an Olin. So that's where I'm at, Juanita.
Well, you know what? I guess today's topic is going to be hilarious because we're talking about taking a walk in the park. Dan, I don't know how you're going to take a walk in the park because you taking a walk in the park, you're definitely going to get jacked up because pollen is waiting on you as soon as you step outside the door.
I know. You know how upsetting that is? Because Chick-fil-A, it's like five. It's so like you can. There's a Chick-fil-A in one direction for some people. There's a Chick-fil-A because there's two of them now, and if I want to go to Chick-fil-A right now, I got to deal with it. I went to Chick-fil-A yesterday. Do you know that of any car, a wasp landed on my car? I couldn't open my window to make my Chick-fil-A order. Do you know how frustrating that is? Like, I looked up at God, I was like, what am I doing? Why are they blocking me from Chick-fil-A? They're moving pollen around, and now I can't order my Chick-fil-A. I was going to tell the lady, I was going to put my back window down and be like, hey, he's in my front window. I'm going to order from the back. Is that okay? I'm just going to pop the trunk. Can I pop the trunk and you can hear me, right? I got a broadcasting voice. I'm just going to send it to you that way. Will you take my money from the other side? So, I mean, I literally had a plan of how I was going to order my Chick-fil-A food if this wasp didn't move because I wasn't going to let that wasp in my car. Absolutely not. So, I just, I think God's messing with me and that's all right. And that's okay. I'll be fine. Pollen and bees, not a bad problem. But, all I'm saying is that I would like to have a little bit of peace when I order Chick-fil-A, and I would like to go walk on the parkway and be left alone by pollen and all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're talking about a walk in the park today, and my walk in the park yesterday was very pollen-oriented, obviously. So from everything we've talked about up to this point, What can you say a walk in the park means to you, Juanita, outside of the beautiful, beautiful pollen that has followed us all this year? And they picked a perfect year. Allergies picked a perfect year. Hey, let's be the worst we've ever been in the middle of a pandemic. This sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, like the movie The Happening. So I'm not about it. I don't like it. I was watching an End of the World movie yesterday, and I had to shut it off in the middle because I was like, why am I getting anxiety for no reason? So I shut it off. I try to go to bed. I'm trying to be positive about a walk in the park, Juanita. So tell me about a walk in the park for you.
Well, I'm telling you, Dan, it's the most gratifying feeling in the world, honestly. After you get out there, you start to experience, just nature. And, it's relaxing. It's encouraging. You get a chance to see the greenery. It's a different scene. And the most important thing why I think it's so important for everyone, if you have an opportunity or if you can take a walk in a park, it's something that you should do and you should put into your routine because it's outside of the norm. Typically we get off work, we go into the house or we, go to our lawn or whatever, and we, try to get some things done around there. And if there's ever vacation, you typically think of going to the beach or something along those lines. Everyone wants to go put their feet in the sand. And I think that it's just a just an awesome, awesome thing. Number one, it's going to keep you healthy because of exercising purposes. And number two, it allows you to relieve stress. It allows you to release, stress, relieve and release. And it's important because we deal with so much on a regular basis. We go through so much on a regular basis, and it's just important to have self-care. This month is self-awareness. It's mental health month. And so with that being said, it's very important to take care of yourself. It's very important to, line your opportunities up, which means when you're out there, what are you doing? Like, of course you're walking, of course you're exercising, of course you're relieving and releasing yourself. But most importantly, the most important thing that you can do is release your mental, enjoy yourself. Just take some time for yourself to just relax. It's the most important thing to do in the whole entire world is self-care. And for me, when I'm taking that walk in the park, it's like, it's so gratifying. You feel the fresh air, you feel, the sun, I can tell you a quick story. This past weekend, I went with, someone that I love dearly, and we went, walking in the park, and it was so incredible. And it was actually through a nature trail, and we walked up on this swamp, and not even expecting to get there, we were kind of like walking through, it was, I guess you'd say it was a tree, it was a tree park. And so it was telling us about different trees. And, I just thought, yeah, okay, we'll probably come up on a lake or something because I heard the water. But I wasn't expecting to come up on a swamp. And I thought to myself, what a fascinating way to experience, this opportunity outside to, just take in the sun, take in, the fresh air. But then a treasure is at the end of it. We come up on a big, humongous swamp. For me, that's incredible because you don't typically see a lot of swamps here in Mississippi. Like, you see lakes and you see ponds and things like that. And so the beauty of that, I'm looking at these trees, how the leaves are drooping over, and, all of the, there's dew and all this stuff. And it was just beautiful. I mean, the scenery was fantastic, phenomenal. And it was a great memory for us that even though you have so much going on in your life, just take a moment to take in, just take a moment to breathe, just take a moment to release and revive yourself. And at the end of that, there's beauty on the other side. And so I was so grateful for that. So you never know. The walk in the park is way more than just walking or exercising. It's an opportunity to see that there's beauty on the other side.
Yeah, and I agree completely that, a walk in the park does mean so much. And I literally had a walk in the park yesterday. And there's so much beauty in that. And and there's so much, it's amazing to have that and to connect with that. It's to connect with nature. People talk about it and it goes understated sometimes, or, it's funny. Yesterday I was talking about cliches, and I was talking to my guy Prince Tyson Gully, who played running back at Syracuse, and we were talking about, I was like, cliche is just another word for that which is true. And a walk in the park, oh, that's so cliche. Yeah, it is, but it's also one of the best natural remedies for stress, for anxiety, for confusion, for depression, for sadness. Walking in the park and taking that time to pray, to think, to meditate, to listen to music, to call a friend, to call your family. Yesterday I brought Lily, to walk with your dog. And so for me, like, it was my walk in the park, albeit, pollinated and all that stuff, my walk in the park was so peaceful because, healthy body, healthy mind is important to me. So I got my steps in. So that was crucial. So I was able to get my steps in. I was able to walk my dog, which made me feel good to do something nice for Lily because she's so good to me. People walking by and smiling at her and smiling, thinking she's cute and all that. That made me smile. That, little things like that still make people happy in this crazy world, and I love seeing that. And the people say hello, and that made me smile. Talking to my best friend Evan, that made me smile. And, being able to send messages to someone that I really care about, and of the beauty of being out there, to, just thinking and praying and just talking to God and talking to myself and talking things through. There's so many things that a walk in the park does. And I mean, and I'm an example of what a walk in the park can do. I dropped weight, I built muscle, my body changed, my mind changed, my ability to take care of myself elevated. So as much as my throat may be sore and my ears may be plugged because of allergies, my heart is open, my mind is peaceful, more peaceful than it's been in maybe forever, and my body is healthy. So a walk in the park, collectively compounded on itself over and over and over again, can change your life. It's not just a simple walk in the park. It's a dedication to health. It's a dedication to positivity. It's a dedication to moving forward. There's something beautiful about whether you're walking by the water, or you're walking in your neighborhood, or you're walking on vacation, wherever you're walking. There's something to be said about the beauty in the steps you take. And, it's funny, they say, if you take one step forward every day, you're doing the right thing, right? If you take one step forward every day, you're moving in the right direction. And I responded to that and I said, well, I take 10,000 steps forward every day. So I think that's just something to be cognizant of, is when you take a walk in the park, it helps your health in so many ways. It helps your mind, it helps your body, it helps your heart, it helps your soul. It helps you to think, it helps you to feel, it helps you to be honest with yourself. It helps you to get in tune with whatever's going on with you. A walk in the park is one of the simplest ways that we fight to actually help ourselves get healthy again. So I just think that there's so much beauty in it, and I'm always finding something else in it. So I would tell people, take it for what it's worth and give it a shot, because, the cliche term, a walk in the park, oh, it's just a walk in the park, makes it sound easy, but it's actually one of the best decisions you may ever make in your life.
Oh, certainly. I would definitely agree with you for sure, because, when you really just get an opportunity to just think about life and, think about how far you've gone in life. Like I said, again, this month is Mental Health Month. And, we've gone through a lot as people. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of, what's going on around you and with you. And, so many people don't take care of self, because they're so generous, they're so kind, there's before them, and eventually it ends up falling back on them, because they're taking on the stress of the whole entire world, and they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we make things right? How can I make things better? Because we've been taught, don't think about yourself, don't think about yourself. And when it comes down time for self-awareness, and it comes down time for self-care, it's not that you're being selfish, is that you're really valuing, what's going on with you, what's going on inside of you. And you have to be able to, get back to a mental place where you can, perform at your highest level. You can, articulate things at the highest level. You can do, certain things at the highest level. And taking that walk, is the most gratifying thing ever. Take some time to just relax. Take some time to just enjoy. Dan, and it's deeper than just taking a walk in the park. Things that we go through in a life every single day. Do we just take time to, realize what's going on? Do we take time to analyze what's going on? Or do we just allow life to pass us by? Do we just allow situations to continue to arise without really thinking about the proper answers and without thinking about the proper way to deal with different things in life? You know, do we just keep going and let life happen, as they say, I guess for cliche lack of terms? Life happens. Life happens. Well, when do we get a grip? Do we just continue to say life happens? When do we get a grip? When do you put things into perspective and put things into order? And the purpose of taking a walk in the park is to put things into perspective, put things into order. Take a pause for just a second out of your busy day to take some time for yourself. You know, life is going to happen. Things are going to happen in life. But if you continue to keep going down the same road and continuously on the same cycle, you'll never advance. You'll never make it to the next level because you continue to allow yourself to believe that, oh, life just happens. Life just happens. Oh, that was a part of life. Well, sometimes storms happen in your life not to destroy you, not to bring you down, but storms happen in your life to push you forward. Sometimes when the wind is blowing, it's not blowing you to keep you from going forward. Sometimes the wind is blowing from behind you to push you into your next level, to push you into your next opportunity, to push you into the next dimension of where you're supposed to be, to put you back on track. Sometimes people get off track. Why? Because they're so consumed with everything that's going on in life. And taking that walk in the park gives you an opportunity to readjust, realign, refocus, rejuvenate yourself. You know, it gives you an opportunity to really dedicate yourself within yourself, to rely on your own personal perspective on where it is that you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. And for everything that is worth, you're definitely going to be better for the next person because you are identifying who you are as a person, because you're taking time to just see the beauty on the other side. You know, we get so consumed with everything that's going on. You have to take that time to really keen in on what's going on in your life. And that walk, you know, notice we didn't say take a run in the park. Take a jog in the park. No, take a walk in the park. And taking a walk in the park means you're slowing down because everything is going so fast. Technology is speeding up. You know, things are happening in the world so fast. Kids are learning at a rapid pace so fast. It's time to, you know, relax a little bit. It's time to rejuvenate yourself, refocus yourself. When you take a walk, you're learning patience. Yeah. You're learning how to endure. You're learning how to overcome. Like I said again, you notice we didn't say take a run in the park. You're not trying to speed through life. That's what we're doing right now every single day of our life. We wake up and you're on the go. You know, you're watching the clock and you're waiting, you're counting down. I can't wait till this happened. I got a meeting here, there. When you stop, as you used to say all the time, Dan, when you stop to smell the roses, I absolutely loved every time you said that. I mean, oh, Juanita, you have these beautiful roses beside you. I can only imagine you're just smelling the roses. But truly, when people stop to really just smell the roses, there's something on the other side that's awaiting them. Don't be so consumed with speeding through everything just because that's the way things are going. Take control of who you are. And what you can't control, it's not for you to control.
You know, and you echo so many things that we talk about here on the show and so many things we've talked about this week. Control what you can control. You know, we focus on everything we can't control. And that's where stress comes from. Stress, and I'm gonna ask everybody to be honest with themselves. Look at the stress in your life. How much of it has to do with stuff you can't control? How much of it has to do with what you want somebody to do, what you want a job to do, what you want the world to do, what you want the government to do, what you want this to do and that to do? How much of it has anything to do with you? Because here's the thing about stress. It attacks, but it holds on if you let it. Stress is going to come after everybody, and it's going to try to attack you. But do you let it get its grip on you? The grip comes on you when you realize I can't control this, and then you just stay stressed about it. If you can't control it, and I know it's easier said than done, but if you can't control it, Let go of it. You can't control it. Let go of it. Okay? Dealing with stuff we can't control is like trying to put a lasso around a tornado. It's never going to work. It's never going to happen. And you're going to use up all your energy trying to throw that lasso over that tornado. And sometimes you're going to get sucked away. So be smart about the fact that we can't control everything. We really can't control anything except for us, except for you. It's the only thing you have control over. What you say, what you do, how you act, how you think, how you feel. You have to control what you can. And sometimes God's going to take some of that, right? Sometimes, you just feel and that's it. And you can't control that. But it's about honing who you are and what you're about. It's about accepting the fact that some things can't be figured out and some things can't be explained. Some things don't make sense. And that's okay. My parents told me that a long time ago. It doesn't have to make sense. My dad said to me repeatedly, and he still says it, he says, Dan, everybody's got an opinion like everybody's got a backside. Some of them talk out their backside, and some of them don't. But they all have an opinion like they have that. And some people act like that. Some people are mean, and some people are not. But it's not your job to try to make them something that they are or that they're not. Everyone has an opinion. It doesn't make them right. It just means they have an opinion. I mean, if you really break down life between us worrying about other people's opinions, which we can't control, and worrying about other people's actions, which we can't control, if we took all of the worry out that comes from other people's opinions and actions and thoughts of us, how much will we actually be stressed about? Probably not much. So, we've been pushed in this world to be scared, which is the devil's lie. That's what fear is. We've been pushed to be scared. We've been pushed to question. And we've been pushed to feel uncomfortable. The God I believe in seeks to never harm, always build up, create peace within, strength, joy, and a self-awareness that goes beyond anything that anybody could ever say against us to change our minds. So I would tell people, if you feel lost, take a walk in the park. If you've never prayed, give it a shot. God, I'll tell you one thing that I really believe about God. He doesn't care how much you call him. He'd love for you to call him every day, of course. But he just wants you to call him once. That's all it takes is the first time. God just wants a phone call. Yeah, he's a parent that always wants you to call home. But every time that phone rings, he's going to be ready to talk to you. He's not going to remind you the 972 times you didn't call. He's going to be happy to be on the phone with you today. So, if you've never called God, dial his number. See what he says. Take a walk in the park. Take a deep breath. Joke about it. Laugh about it. Man, my throat hurts. My throat is hurting this entire show. But I didn't stop doing my show. Why, Dan? Because I can't control this. Outside of getting my sleep and getting my fluids and making sure I do what I can do, I can't make this feel 100% right now. But God gave me an opportunity to do what I love and love what I do. And he's worked with me every step of the way. So I'm not missing a show. I'm not doing that. And not only am I not doing that, I'm not going to be negative about it. I joked about it today. Juanita and I laughed about it today. So, yeah, is it hard to do sometimes? Yeah. Do I want to feel better? Of course I do. But what's more important to me than my throat and my ears and how they feel right now is the fact that I can still hear Juanita and I can still speak. And if I can still speak and I can still listen, then we can still have a conversation that hopefully will uplift somebody. And if I've learned anything about life, you have to take the pain with the promise. You have to take the pain with the perseverance. You have to take the my throat hurts and my ears are plugged with the I can't take a day off to spread a positive message. So, I'm here, and I hope that you came to the table too, because everybody can eat dinner at my table, and that's just how it is. Oh, Juanita, we lost you for a second here. Can you hear us? Let's see if we can get her. It's cutting in and out. Juanita, can you hear us? All right, we're gonna try and get Juanita back on the line here, as we've lost her here for a second. I don't want to miss out what she was going to say. Once again, Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. So we're looking to bring her in. She may have gone into a dead zone, so we'll be looking to get her in here in just a second. But in the meantime, I do want to let you know on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT is where you are watching. You're also watching on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. And, of course, you're listening on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. And, of course, you find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. We're going to take a quick step aside to bring Juanita back here in just a moment. So if we can't get her back on this, we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll bring her back right after this. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. DT. So happy to have you here hanging out inside of the Cafe Cubal studios, and we're here with Miss Juanita Ward as we get her set and ready to go on this broadcast, A Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. She is here with us where sports truly meets that thing called life, and I wanted to make sure that we got to her final point that she had here. So Juanita, just to go ahead with what you were saying before we lost connection with you.
I believe that there's 5 ways that we can win, in life. And, the number one way is to let go of your past. Number 2 is to control what you can control. Number 3 is to speak life, replace fear with faith, And number 4 is to believe that faith overcomes fear. And number 5 is to believe that God has a plan for you. And if we can do those things, we're ultimately saying, okay, God, I place everything that I have, everything that's going on, all of my challenges, all of my wins, I place all of that in your hands because I know that you have a plan for me. I'm going to replace the fear. And I often say that fear is false evidence appearing real. And I'm going to replace that fear with faith of believing that things are going to change, believing that things will turn around, believing that there is a greater outcome for me. If we can become more of conscious of who we are as far as being thankful every single day, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to encounter some good. We're going to encounter some bad. But at the end of the day, if we can replace what we see as a negative and replace that with a positive and be grateful in all things, not just when good things happen, not just when we get a promotion, not just when we get a brand new car, a brand new house, and we're so grateful, we're just jumping for joy. But sometimes, like I said before, sometimes storms come not to destroy you. Every storm that's put in your way is not to stop you. Storms are put in your way to strengthen your faith. When we go through different things in life, what's the lesson that you learn in that? How do you grow from that? Or do you just stay with the negative mindset of believing that, nothing is ever going to get better? That walk in the park for us, that walk in the park for you, is for you to grow. It's for you to mature. It's for you to overcome. It's for you to think outside the box. It's for you to relax. It's for you to rejuvenate. It's for you to refocus. It's for you to realign. It's for you to readjust. That walk in the park is for you. That walk in the park is so that you can be better than you were yesterday. That walk in the park is so that you can make an impact on someone else's life. That walk in the park is not just simply walking and exercising. That walk in the park is strengthening who you are. Let go of what you can't control. Control what you can. That's your emotions, the way you think. The way you articulate and respond to different things. Control what you can control. When you're driving your car, obviously you can't drive and control the wind. You can't drive and control who's going to cut you off. But what you can control is thinking ahead. What you can control is that steering wheel. What you can control in the park here is you walking. You can control how you sway your body from side to side. You can control how you move your arms. You can control certain things, and the things that you can't control, let it go. When fear tries to grip you, replace that with faith. Faith steps in and says, I'm stronger than you believe. I'm stronger than you're giving yourself. I'm more wiser than you are putting upon yourself. I'm more capable than you're believing, than you think that you can be. That's what faith steps in and does. Faith believes the impossible. Faith believes that you can turn your impossible into I'm possible. The walk in the park is for you. Believe it. We say it all the time. I will succeed. It's not just something that we just say just to say it. It's truly a declaration. It's truly a decree. It truly has changed lives. When you can step up, when you can say to yourself, I will succeed. Those few words are someone else's life source. Because when you believe in yourself, the next few words are going to come out of your heart. out of your mouth is going to be seed that's going to water someone else's soil that's inside of them. What are you speaking? Speak life. And really, truly, just enjoy yourself. That walk in the park is for you. Dan, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate everything that you do, man. This show is just not about, you just being on the air and getting the fame, but this show is way more deeper, way more getting yourself in tune and aligning who you are as a person. And I'm telling you, I'll say it 1,000 times until I'm blue in the face, until I have no more air in my body to breathe. What you're doing and allowing everyone to know that Jesus Christ is real and he is the center and God is covering us and God has a plan for us. It's the most gratifying thing in the whole entire world. When you can step up and say, you know what? I'm going to proclaim, I'm going to talk about who I believe and who I serve openly. God says, that's my boy. I definitely have great things in store for him because he's not afraid. He's not scared to talk about me. He's not scared to put me out there in front of the whole entire world. He's not afraid. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. That's my boy. And that's the reason why I have him standing on the front line as a soldier, as a warrior. And so I appreciate you so much, Dan, because people need to know that Jesus is love. And he can take care and handle any and everything that you're going through. The only thing we have to do is have a little bit of faith and just simply believe. Thank you so much, Dan, man. You know I love you.
I love you too, Juanita, and I appreciate those amazingly kind words and all the good that you bring into my life. And I will work to deserve them, but I don't know where God belonged in the spotlight from the beginning. So I don't know who took him out of it, but I gladly put him back in whenever he needs to be. So, I mean, I don't know how to live life any other way. If I try to live it without God, that's an immediate failure. And if I live it with him, there's no way I can fail. That's the difference for me. So I appreciate you. I love you back. And thank you for being a part of my family. Thank you for doing lead with us and just all the positive that you bring and that you continuously teach people that they will succeed. And it is a declaration. It is a decree. I will succeed. So thank you for all you're doing and much love as always. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
Awesome. Take care, Dan.
Take care. That coming from Juanita Ward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And, we are the difference. That's what I believe. People say, how is Wake Up Call different? I guess my response to you is, just listen. Just listen. You'll be able to figure it out pretty easy. How are we different? Just listen. So, speaking of the difference, before we go to take a step aside for a fast break, I would love to honor Miss Gina Castelli with being our top dog of the week this week. And that honor comes to her from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And I'm elated to be able to do that to her. So you hear that little bark from Lily. The top dog of the week this week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Gina Castelli. She could arguably be the top dog every single week of the last 8 years. When I came back to Central and Upstate New York after working for Disney and ESPN down in Orlando, when I had the opportunity to come home, I pretty much met her right after I did. And she has been one of the integral parts of my life in such a positive way. She's an amazing human being. She's an incredible person. And I am more than happy to be able to share with you in just a few moments a video conversation with Gina Castelli. She's announced as our top dog of the week. You will find out why right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Such a beautiful, wonderful soul is who you're about to hear from here on Wake Up Call.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, where you're watching this video right here on the homepage. You're also seeing us on facebook.com/livenowdt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Of course, you can also get the audio on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. So a lot of places to get involved with us live here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Fill your cup with your favorite today. And I am here with one of my favorite people of my entire 17-plus year career. She knows it. She made me cry multiple times within the last couple of years. And, I mean, you know somebody means something to you when you remember the first time you sat with them. And you remember the chairs, you remember the table, you remember where you sat, which is right in front of the Ted Grant Court, when there used to be foldable chairs and kind of those like pop-up tables there. It's where I met Gina Castelli. And then when the Moyne Dolphins won their first ever NE10, I was there with her as she was cutting down the net. And within a couple minutes left, when I realized it was going to happen, I started to tear up. And then she gave me a hug, and we kind of joked about the fact that, you know, we've been, you know, really since Gina's gotten there and since I came back home to Central New York, we've known each other. So I find it very difficult to not make this an even longer intro, but Gina Castelli, one of the greats that I know in my life. So I welcome her to the show. Gina, how are we doing?
Now I really sound old, so I should retire.
I sound old too. I didn't say how many years. I just said
17 years. That means you were starting when you were you had 9 years in when I when I started here. Yeah, I remember that day too. It was fun.
How many years have you coached altogether?
That's a great. I started in 1987, right after I graduated from college. So close to 35 years. So I was an assistant for 2 or 3 years, and then was a head coach the rest of that time. So
you come to Lemoyne. You and I talk literally when you had come in, when they had hired you. We sat at that table outside of Ted Grant Court, and you told me your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that vision was accomplished?
I do. I know. Obviously, you want to win a national championship, but I do think that we've put Lemoyne one on the map, and definitely whoever takes this program over has the opportunity to build it. It's already in a sense to a national championship program. I think that when I took this program in the beginning, I don't think many people thought we could even win a lot of games. And so I think what we've done is made a lot of people believers, and I'm sure that HR is probably getting a lot of good resumes now, whereas before, I'm sure when I applied for the job, I don't know if there were many that really applied for it. So I think we've put it in a place where it's in a really good place in the NE10 conference where, hey, we made it to the Sweet 16. We were one game shy of getting to the Elite Eight. And, I think that we've done a really, really good job. And, so I'm excited. I'm excited for our team next year. Everybody's, we have a loaded class with seniors, and I think the culture's there and they understand what it takes to win.
Making this decision after 8 seasons, looking at it, overall as a head coach, 458 and 376, your record at Lemoyne, 122 and 80. I want to make a note of this, as your 122 victories at Lemoyne are the second most in the program's history, but you're the only one of the 5 coaches that have been there for Lemoyne's women's basketball team that has ever posted a winning record overall. So 122 wins, you won a little bit over 60% of the time. You're the only coach in Lemoyne Dolphins women's basketball history to have a winning record. Thoughts on that?
I'm happy. I'm happy with what we've been able to accomplish. And and again, I think that sometimes you got to see it to believe it. And I think for the next coach, they know you can win here. I think we proved it in the years that we were here. And so I'm really happy that we were able to do that. Obviously it's not really what, I'm about. I do think that, culture trumps anything that you do. And I think when you have good culture, you can win a lot of games. And I think that's really what we established here. And that's why I also feel really good about, years to come. I think that we're leaving this program with really solid players and kids that understand what it takes to win, that whoever is going to come in is going to inherit a really good group of girls that understand, how hard you need to work and what it takes to win games, at a high level.
And for you, like you said, not, you appreciate that, but you're not a numbers person. You're a relationship builder. I just had this conversation recently for me too. I find that people that focus on the numbers, then no number is ever good enough.
Right.
You and 100 of it all is, you and I are in a business that can look numbers driven from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, I think as well as I know, and why we're on this call together right now. If you're not building relationships, you're never, ever going to truly be successful.
Absolutely. And, it was my number one thing coming to Lemoyne was, establishing great relationships, not just on our team, but, in the entire department. And when I came here, I just really committed to just being all in, with whatever this department was doing. And I wasn't just going to be the women's basketball coach. I was going to, do as much as I can to help this department even grow further. And I think I'm also really happy about that, I gave everything, I gave my whole heart, here. And, I know I still have some things left, but, I'm ready to, I'm just ready for a new chapter. As you get older, I feel like, you can't sustain it as long, so, it's really good to keep fresh. And after my days at Siena, I spent a lot of time there, 22 years. And I felt that, if I had to go back and do that again, I probably wouldn't have been there as long. And I think that it could have prolonged my career even more if I would have made more moves, earlier on. But I think in coaching, you can really get to a point where, because it's so difficult, you can burn out really quickly. And I think it's really important to recognize that when you're at these points of like, okay, I think I'm at a point where I need just to change it up a little bit so that, even for myself personally, I can still do some good work even as I get older. So, I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Here with Gina Castelli, who spent 8 seasons with the Lemoyne College Dolphins as their women's basketball head coach, recently announcing her retirement. Tournament championship, the first ever in the history of Lemoyne. We get to celebrate that. You go to the NCAA tournament. The next season you go to the NCAA tournament, but it's cut short, and then you don't have a season. How much did the pandemic weigh into you making this decision right now?
It's so funny, I've never really thought about it. I had one of the former NE10 coaches text me. She goes, "So you made it all the way through COVID and now you're retiring? Like, why don't you stay 1 or 2 more years?" And, it's, I don't know. I think that it had some things to do with it, but I do think that even last year I was contemplating this at the end of the year. And to be perfectly honest with you, we went to the NCAA tournament. We fell short in the sense that we couldn't play it, and came back. And I was thinking, now what do I do? Do I play out another year? And I really felt that, again, my mission here in terms of what did I come here to do, to build strong relationships, to help these women grow. I thought that, sticking it out through COVID was my mission. I didn't know we were going to be playing. I didn't know what we were going to be doing, but I thought I couldn't leave my team last year at this point because I knew everybody was hurting, and I really felt that I gotta stick this out with our girls. So, and then when it came to the end of this year, I really felt that regardless of whether or not we were having a season, I just felt that again it was time. It just was that feeling inside that just said, regardless, it's time.
And for you, what made you know? I mean, you don't know until you know. So how did you know that it was time? What feelings, what thoughts, what gut, reaction? How did you just come to that conclusion that this is time?
Such a great question. I think if I didn't have the experience I had before at Siena, and maybe I wouldn't have realized it and would have just kind of, in a sense, gutted it out. But I really felt that after everything at Siena, the one thing I always said to myself is whatever you do it with joy. And, when you don't feel that same joy, on a daily basis, it's time to move on. And I've been feeling kind of that way in the last few years. So, and I could still coach, I still can do it. I still enjoy going out, on the practice court. I just didn't feel that, I know myself, and I feel like, I just don't feel like I'm at that point right now. And I didn't want to shortchange our team, which we have really good players. I do think that, energy is really important in a practice and in games. And I think players take on your personality sometimes. And I don't want to, come into practice next year feeling like, I don't want to be here, because I think that's just going to perpetuate itself onto our players. And I think that's really what made me make that decision. And selfishly, I could have probably done another 1 or 2 years, but I just again went back to that thought I had and that feeling I had after Siena, and I always said to myself I would never go back to that. I always wanted to remain in a good mindset and a good feeling inside.
Spending over 2 decades at Siena and 8 seasons here, with a lot less of the time, how did you know? Like you said, you don't want to feel that feeling again, but how did you know that feeling was kind of potentially going to come about, even though there's 14 years of difference?
Well, I think again, as you get older, it's another thing I've learned is that it's not. I started at Siena when I was 26, so that's a lot different than when I started here at 50. So it's I had a lot of years in, and at 26 I was learning everything, on the fly. And, I was just looking through some old things I had. I'm thinking, wow, how I've grown as a coach. And I think that, you have much more energy when you're younger, and you can do things for a lot longer time. I just felt that, there were some things I just didn't feel like I had wanted to do again. Especially one of the things here that's really tough is the travel. And, you get on the bus and you're traveling not 2 hours, but they're always 4 to 5, hour bus rides. And I felt to myself, like, I'm not so sure I would be energized to get on that bus again, for an entire season. I could do it a few times, but I felt, I don't have it in me for that. So
I don't think anybody likes being on the bus that long.
Yeah, I know. And it's true, it is true. I mean, I think you learn to live with a lot of things, but I think it really just became just how I felt inside.
So, you've had so much passion for it. Do you step away still having passion for the game in some respect? Is there somewhere we could see you, so to speak?
Absolutely. I've been, basketball's been part of my life since I was 5 years old. So still love the game. I'm still, I still watch NBA games. I'm still like watching coaches' videos at night, new drills. I really feel that my work right now, the way I feel, and it could change, in a couple of years, but the way I feel right now is that I can serve younger coaches much more. I have a lot of experience. I do think I could pass on some of that knowledge and, maybe help avoid some pitfalls for some younger coaches so that it can move them along in their coaching career, and that's what I really want to do. Again, I was lucky enough to have some wiser, more experienced coaches when I first started, and it was a godsend to me. The things I learned, and I've always, I'm a big believer in women's basketball and women coaching women, and I really would love to be able to give back to our profession in that way.
So, essentially, counseling coaches to make
coaching coaches, mentoring.
Coaches,
yeah.
The coach's coach, so to speak.
A coach's coach, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you feel like there's a lot of people out there doing that, or do you really do feel like there's a void?
I think that, again, when I started, there were a lot of young coaches out there. Now we're all the same age. And I see a lot of these women now as assistant coaches for maybe some Power 5 conferences or what have you. And I do think we have value. I think that the issue in women's basketball, less so on the men's side, is that as you get older, people are less likely to hire you. It's a very trendy profession. And so, people are always looking for younger coaches with high energy, but those younger coaches may have high energy, but they also don't have the experience. And, I don't disagree with that philosophy in terms of hiring. I just think that if there's younger coaches that, don't have as much pride, because you really have to kind of, say, hey, can you help me out, and lean on those coaches, I think they're going to always be better off. So I think there's a lot more of us out there now, at our age, to be able to help a younger coach out. And I think that there should be positions for us out there like that.
So, for you, is it being, essentially a consulting and
right.
Maybe running your own business, so to speak, where you can work with people all over the country? Is that how you see it?
Yeah. Eventually that would be pretty cool. I think I would like to start out more on someone's staff to see where it goes. And then I do think there are some coaches, Pam Borton, who used to coach at the University of Vermont, then at Minnesota. She has her own business, as well as I think Gail Gaston-Course also has her own executive coaching business. I'm not sure, I want to start my own business, but, if it were to lead to that, again, I kind of have fallen into some of these positions I've had, and, but I've always gone with my heart in terms of, next things. So I'm excited about it.
Stepping away, feeling that it's time, is any part of you think that you would regret it, or is your heart clear?
It's pretty clear. I think that when I thought that I would feel, if I would have felt regret, I think I would have felt it this week. But I'm not, so, and I think it's also, it's not just something that just came spur of the moment. It took a lot of thought, in terms of when I wanted to do this. And so, if I didn't feel comfortable doing it, I wouldn't have done that, but I felt in my heart that it was the right thing. And I'm pretty excited about what's next, and I'm very excited about, the opportunities our team has next year. I'll always be a loyal Finn fan, and and who knows, maybe
time here in our community with the Moyne College Dolphins for almost a decade, and met her when she was coming in, talking to her in her next chapter. And I think, Gina, before we go anywhere else, I think you already know this, but being, no matter where you go, I'm always going to be in that corner. And I want to thank you that you allowed me to not only interview you that day, but when you gave me the opportunity to do that, I didn't think either one of us maybe knew in that moment that we were building a friendship. And then I didn't know how much it meant to you until, I saw it as the years progressed. But I want to thank you for the fact that I genuinely, I can only imagine what your teammate, what the players feel, what the coaches feel from you, being your peers, because I genuinely feel cared for. And I feel that, for anybody in the stands when I'm there, it was like, thank you, Dan, specifically. And it means a lot to me that you've made it a very personal thing for me beyond professional, and I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you. As you know, I'm looking over there. I see Cuse in the house. As you know, in Syracuse, it's all about SU, and so the publicity that you gave us, really meant a lot to me, and because we don't get that much here at Lemoyne, and I think it is kind of a diamond in the rough. There are a lot of good programs here, and it's remarkable how we don't get as much publicity. But I really appreciate the time and how much you knew about our program. I think that's also really really important to me. It wasn't that you just wanted to have us on. You knew a lot about our team. You knew about the players. You knew about our success, and I think that said a lot to me as well. So, I appreciate what you do and how hard you work.
Thank you. And it goes a long way when your family comes up and they're like, "Oh, you're Dan," and so that means that to me, those are the things that. What'd you say? Would you say your sister?
I said those are my sisters. Yeah. If I tell them to watch next week, they'll be all over it. So.
Yeah. To me, I think it's just real. It does. It's very rewarding, and I don't think there's anything more rewarding than somebody's family coming up to you saying, like, you had my daughter on, or you had my friend on, or my sister, or my brother. Like that to me, because normally in the media, parents and grandparents, they don't listen, they don't watch because it's negative or it's twisted. Right. And I have the opposite. I have the you interviewed my daughter, and I appreciate that. So. Those are the things I take home with me. And I do, in all honesty, it's very real to me, the relationships you build. It's what it's all about. And you come in as a professional, you leave as a friend, is how I see it.
That's so true.
Because I remember all the people coming up to you when you won the tournament championship, and you're crying and it's emotional and all these people are around. And then I finally got to see you, and you gave me a big hug. And it was just that moment of I genuinely felt like it was all this time and you got here. Yeah. And I could feel that, and you were telling me I appreciate you. I'm like, I didn't do anything but sit here and talk to you. You did all the work. And it's different when people like yourself win things and achieve things and make a difference in the community. It just feels different. You could be 1 in 100, but the character and the content of who you are, I was always going to root for you. So I remember telling people, I'm like, it's not that Lemoyne succeeded. It's not that anybody succeeded. It's that Gina did it. So to me, it's going to mean more.
Well, you're totally invested in what we did. So yeah, those are special times. Those girls that were a part of it, and even those that weren't, they were a part of it in terms of how we built it. And, I was just looking at some of my first year teams, some of the mementos and cards, and it was just awesome that they just bought in right away. It doesn't happen all the time, and I just think that that team, that first team, and myself, we just kind of we just met up at the right time, and they bought in. I was all in, and everybody created this great opportunity and culture, which I hope that, it continues, just like men's and women's lacrosse. I think, those programs here at Lemoyne have continuously won regardless of who the coaches are. And I think that's that's a product of, what the first coach has done, and, what Lemoyne means. And I really think that to me would be like the icing on the cake if next year these girls did really, really well, because it'll say a lot about, what we were able to build, these past few years.
Yeah, it's the difference between having a good era or building a culture.
Right, exactly.
And I see over your shoulder the nets, and
Yeah.
so I remember, and that video actually, it's one of my videos that went viral. My video of you just swinging the net and doing your thing, and I remember just like being like, this is nuts, and just seeing like the craziness of amount of people that saw it and appreciated it and whatnot. I think you made a joke to me like, my sisters must be sharing it or something like that, but
they probably were.
It was everywhere, and it was so cool. And I got to tell you that every net ceremony I've been at, that was my favorite one.
Yeah, that was special. I mean, think about it. The first time Lemoyne women's basketball's ever won an NE10 championship, and but that too it's not just the culture in women's basketball; it's the culture in the athletic department. There's a wonderful culture with the Inside the L program, and I think that in and of itself has really raised the bar in terms of athletics here. So, everybody is invested in it, and all these programs are doing much better now. So yeah, it was a very proud moment. Winning the NE10 championship. It was a culmination of a lot of things as we've discussed.
Yeah, and it's. I've never wanted to see somebody go up the ladder to take the net down more. I was like, Gina deserves this more than anybody. So to do that and to cut it down, it was really cool. And I think I mean it was just I don't really have the perfect words, because to me it's like, and it's funny, like we talk and I'll say something, you'll say something, like the other person just gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm like, Gina, you don't, and you're like, Dan, I know. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, it meant a lot to me. And but you do, it's like, when you lead with your heart and you tell the truth, it's amazing how easily messages get across.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
the way that you coach, I can imagine has been that same way. And I don't feel like you've ever had a team that didn't want to be coached by you. So how do you feel your interaction has been with your players? And do you feel like leading with your heart and caring about them and caring about relationships and them being people in society, do you think that it created a world with you where you genuinely felt like there was mutual respect and a bridge that was able to pass information pretty easily?
Yeah, I think that's where it starts. I think when you're first meeting your team, I think it's really important to understand them on an individual basis. And I think that's how I start. It's not so much meeting the team and laying out my expectations. It's listening to each person and finding out a little bit about their home life and their family, and that's how that started that year. And then watching them play a little bit, and then meeting them as a group. And I think just those steps started the understanding of each player with where I'm at in terms of caring, and I think when you can do that, you can lead with your heart, but also you can have tough love, so, and I think that it's a lot easier to expect more from your players when they know how much you care, and they don't want to disappoint you, so for me, I've always led that way. I mean, it hasn't always been great with every player, but I think that majority of them have understood where I'm coming from in terms of what my expectations are and how I lead, and hopefully they all, in the end, even though maybe in their 4 years they may have not felt it, but in the end they realized how much I cared in terms of the lessons that they've learned. So those are the things that you can do that at a lot of levels. You don't need to be a head coach, to be that person. We've had some great assistant coaches too. Every single one of them, I would say, has had that type of leadership as well. And connection, and so therefore, stronger influences and players working harder. And so we were lucky. I mean, even to that end, I've had great staff here that, there's not been one assistant coach that I wish that I didn't have. Everyone has been great and has made a difference in our program.
And so for you, I mean, at the D2 level, I mean, you've been at D1, you've been with D2. What can you tell me about Division II? What are some misconceptions that you feel like need to be clarified as you have been a coach here and you've had success here?
I think there's a number of things that are misconceptions. The number one is that, you're dropping a level. And I tell this story, I don't know how many times, but my first year I had two of my Siena players on my staff, Christina Centeno and Lily Grency, and we played Bentley early on, in January, and they crushed us. And it was the year Bentley won the national championship. And I remember turning to them saying, this team would have been one of the best teams in the MAC, which Siena plays in. And they both agreed. I mean, they had at least 7 or 8 Division I level players. And, when I say Division I, the difference in Division I is that there are levels. There's low, there's mid, there's high. And I would say that the MAC sometimes could be mid to low. And Bentley was phenomenal. And the pace of play was also something I was just astounded by. In Division I, you have a lot of media timeouts. So you can play for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and then there's a media timeout. Well, in D2, especially when we started, there were very few teams that were using media timeouts. So the pace of play was just, it was so fast, and almost to the point where I laughed in the beginning, like, are you serious? Like, when do we get a break? But you got to really appreciate that. And the level of talent is phenomenal. I mean, a lot of these players, especially in the NE10, because we're one of the premier conferences in the country, you cannot win a national championship if you don't have high level players. And, both on the women's and the men's side, the players in the league are just amazing. And you probably see that now, even in the transfer portal, Division II athletes going to some major Division I programs. So, I think those are big misconceptions. And then how hard you work, practices. I didn't treat this any differently than how I coached at Siena. Our practices were intense. Our preseason conditioning was tough. The biggest difference I always say is that the one biggest difference between D2 and D1 is there's no summer school and no opportunity where you can come in and work out with your strength coach in the summer. Yeah. So, so that also requires you to recruit self-starters, self-motivated kids, because if they're not going to be in good shape when you get them. And so, so there are some kids that even went D1 that we didn't recruit at all, because of that. I was surprised a lot, when some kids would go D1 thinking, wow, we didn't even recruit that player. So, it's a great level of play. There's a little bit more balance, in your life when you're at D2. And I think some of the rules for D1 they should look at D2, I don't think that should be at school all year round. I don't think that's a really good ingredient for success. I think it's a real good ingredient for burnout, and I don't see that as much in the D2 level.
Yeah, and you bring up a bunch of fantastic points about D2, and even looking at D3, the thought that they're not conditioning, they're not in the weight room, they're not running, they're not looking at film, they're not students and athletes, and sometimes trying to make money and take care of things. I mean, an athlete at any level is an athlete, and what they give to it and how much they give to it, says a lot. And like you said, self-starters, people that know how to take care of business without you having to hound them and be on them. So you brought up the NE10. You spoke about how great of a conference it is. To go a little bit deeper into that, just, what your thoughts are on the NE10, because, there are teams that are reputable, not just in basketball, but in general. And Lemoyne, like you said, has made a place for itself in women's lacrosse, men's basketball, women's basketball, pushing beyond that. It's the NE10 definitely is a challenging place. And I know some coaches within this conference that are outside of Lemoyne that, would probably tell you that they like the fight as well within this conference.
It's a great conference. Again, it's the coaches in the league are amazing. I said that, collectively, it's the best conference, in terms of knowledge, what these coaches do, and they stay there for long periods of time. And now I know why, because it's a good life. If you want to stay balanced and things, it's a much different, recruiting. With our recruiting, it's different style. You can keep balance with that too. You can go like throughout the spring, some of the summer. You don't have to kill yourself at one point, So, but yeah, I would just say when I got here at Lemoyne, it was men's and women's lacrosse that was the top teams in the NE10. And just as time has gone on, I think there's been 17 or 18 sports in the last, I think in 2019-20 that have gone to the NCAA tournament, and that's a compliment to not only the coaches in our league at Lemoyne, but also the culture that we have in our department. I think is, that has to have some play in how in the success of these teams. But just recently in the spring, men's tennis won the the NE10 championship. And so did men's golf. And again, so it's not just men's and women's lacrosse, and and those programs are doing well. And in fact, lacrosse is playing right now. So, I'm really proud to have been able to be a part of this, because just to see the progress in the last 8 years amongst all the sports here has been great. And when you play in the NE10, Lemoyne is the farthest school away. So most teams don't like to come out to us, and we're the teams that are traveling the most, and that says a lot about our success across the board. So great conference, and I'm sure Lemoyne will be great in years to come.
You bring up leadership at Lemoyne. Speaking here with Gina Castelli, inside of the Cafe Cubal studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and Matt Bassett was a pioneer of a lot of things. And the Ted Grant Court evolution, when you and I sat down for the first time outside of Ted Grant Court, this thing went through. You see schools have a makeover once every 10 years, 20 years, 5 years for some of them that have the money to do it. Ted Grant Court went through like an evolution, and then 3 years later, another one, then the next year, another one, and then it did it again. Like, the seats got different, the experience got different. It just, I felt like sometimes from one season to another, or every couple seasons, I was like, oh, those are new chairs. Oh, this is different. Oh, they moved that. Oh, they brought that in. It just seemed like it was constantly evolving. Matt Bassett, part of bringing you in there. What can you tell me about what he meant to you as an AD, and what do you think about the leadership right now?
Phenomenal leader and mentor. I think Matt came into, which it still blows my mind. He wasn't here that long, I think 10 or 12 years, but when he got here, and this was before I was here, he had to address Title IX issues. And think about that. It's like, 12 years ago, he was addressing Title IX issues that they had here at Lemoyne in athletics. And those things should have been addressed in the 90s, if that. And so that in and of itself he did. Plus, it wasn't just the basketball courts and the facility and the Ted Grant Court. It was, lacrosse and soccer, turf field, baseball, softball. He did a lot for facilities. So he upgraded quite a bit. The locker room situations, he upgraded that, so there were a lot of things that he did to make things better for us. But primarily, I think his mark in this program is the culture that he developed with Matt Davidson, called the Inside the L program, which incorporated the Jesuit values, and it was intertwined with athletics, and it's with students, student athletes, coaches, parents, alumni. So everybody is taught and taught about the culture, and there's different ways that we learn it, and it's not just something that you put on a wall and it's a mission statement. It's something that we actively do, throughout the semester. Even throughout COVID, we had athletic department Zoom meetings on Inside the L. We had these cohort meetings where we would meet with different classes, the juniors, the seniors, the freshmen, the sophomore, and we would talk about different themes. So, it's constantly spoken about here at Le Moyne. And to me, that has to play in somewhere, both as a coach, and as a student athlete, and how you're thinking on a daily basis is basically, what it's done. And it's created this real positive culture here in our department that I really think has changed the success level of our of athletics.
And you having the culture. I mean, you got to be a part of that, and you and I have spoken about it. Some of the best years of Le Moyne. I mean, or arguably the best. You got to be a part of that. As you step away, what does that mean to you that you got to see the evolution of the athletic department of Le Moyne, of this school, just really putting into the programs, putting into the facilities, and making sure that you coaches had a better experience and more to utilize in promoting and recruiting and whatnot? I mean, what does that mean to you to be a part of the Wave?
Yeah, I remember the very first meeting we had was an all-department meeting, and the theme of the year was gratitude attitude. And I remember we have these athletic meetings with the students at night, because it's either early in the morning or late at night, because they don't have classes, at 9 o'clock. So this was a 9 o'clock meeting that Matt Bassett had put together, and it was on gratitude and tough love. I remember this, and I remember walking at 10 o'clock at night to my car, thinking, "Wow, this is pretty cool to be a part of this." Been coaching for, at that point, like 20, 25 years, and I had never experienced anything like it. And I was so enthralled by it, because we were also having coaches meetings as well, and we were talking about, let's say, MAGIS, which is striving for excellence, and we would take that one piece, and each coach would talk about what they were doing in their programs, to show MAGIS. What does it look like, in the practice drills that you have? What does it look like in how you're talking to your team? And it was like no right or wrong answer. It was just almost like, coffee with the coaches at 7 o'clock in the morning about these themes and about these values. And we were coming away with ideas. So if Scott Cassidy was saying something that he's done, or Joe Tesori's done for, golf, there's still some things that some of those guys have said that I try to incorporate in my practice. So it was all healthy stuff. And, we do these at clinics, at coaches clinics, but you rarely do it within your own department. You go to these coaches clinics and you get all this information from men's and women's basketball coaches, but you don't always get it from all these other sources, all these other coaches that are very successful. And it was great. Obviously, Dan Sheehan, a winner, in men's lacrosse. I mean, when he would speak, you try to write down as much as possible. So yeah, I just think that, it's something that's uniquely different from any 10 schools. So when you're recruiting, it was something that you talk about, and it's uniquely different from a lot of schools in the country. And now there are other Jesuit schools that are trying to incorporate something very similar to what we've done here, which is really cool,
Yeah. And Gina, before I let you go, you talked about Title IX and what Matt Bassett had to deal with, and things that, issues with Title IX and whatnot. Women's basketball, where is it at? Has it gotten anywhere where you're happy where it's at? Where does it need to go? So kind of Title IX / women's basketball in the broader scope of Title IX, but women's basketball in general. Where are things at, in your opinion, right now? Now that we can see the games on the NCAA tournament, for D1 at least, we're not just seeing, Tennessee and UConn. We're actually seeing, Arizona. People fell in love with their guard, and so many people had no idea who she was because we didn't get to see her ever. And then she goes to the WNBA draft and is drafted high. So, what can you say about where is women's basketball? Have we gotten anywhere? And then Title IX wise, just how maybe that ropes into it.
Well, I definitely think there's a lot of improvement since I started, coaching. Just in terms of salaries alone, I think when I first got my head coaching position, I was making $20,000, So we've definitely improved, in some areas, but, just some of the things that have happened this postseason with NCAA and, some things going viral in terms of just the practice facility or lack thereof in terms of strength and conditioning and the swag bags. And, I think that we still have a long ways to go in terms of how women's basketball and how all women's sports are being really treated. I think there's a level of acceptance, that we can't have. And I think that happened now, with a student athlete putting it out there in terms of, the lack of facilities that, the women's postseason, the NCAA tournament had for the women's game. So I think it's better. I definitely, I like that we're trending and also hiring more females for these head coaching positions too. I think that's great as well, but there's still needs to go a lot farther. We're getting there, but I think it still needs a lot of work.
Well, we see men get hired as women's basketball coaches, but we don't see women ever on the men's side, very sparingly.
Yeah.
Hence why Becky Hammond is a name that everybody knows because we never see her or never see anybody like that. What are your thoughts on that? That men have easily crossed into the women's game. Is it time for women to just be treated like, hey, if you know X's and O's and you know the game, then you could be a coach there? Because I feel like we're in 2021. And I feel like there's people that just can't wrap their heads around a woman running a men's basketball team.
It's funny. I think that just working with younger kids, especially boys, I do think that a lot of boys have been brought up with, females coaching them. And I think it's less about the generation and more about like an older group of people thinking, oh, I can't hire this female for a men's job. I think that like Becky Hammond, I think those guys were fine when she had to take over that one day, when Popovich got thrown out of the game. I don't think they even thought twice about it at the time. They just wanted to win the game. So I think that's where we eventually have to get to. But I personally would like to see, and I know Q, he's a great man and he's a great friend of mine, but I personally would like to see, women coaches being hired on the women's side a little bit more too. I think we could always say, hey, yeah, we could cross over, but first let's do it on our own, in our own sport. I think that's the issue right now to me, that I still don't grasp that. I don't understand how, that happens, on a daily basis, where it's, there's a lot of good women's coaches out there that should be hired, and they're getting passed over for, a guy that, maybe didn't even play college basketball, so that to me, sometimes it's astonishing to me that happens a lot,
Yeah, coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. 2 final points here. Gina, first one is, as you close this chapter and start a new one, what are you most grateful for? What goes through your mind when you look at Ted Grant Court for the last time, or the last time as the head coach, I should say?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for one, the opportunity. You know, I'm mostly grateful for all the people that, both here at Lemoyne and at Siena, all the Rhode Island, Marquette, all those places that I've been, that I was just treated with open arms. You know, the players, assistant coaches, the administration, you know, all those people that supported me to help me get to where I am. You know, I couldn't have done the things that we did here if people didn't believe in the vision we had, first and foremost, and had tried to help us get there. And same thing at Siena and, you know, and other places. I'm just really just grateful that I got to do and I get to do what I love to do all of my life. You know, I mean, I have to pinch myself, you know, thinking that I started playing basketball when I was 5 and I'm still playing basketball, you know, so it's pretty cool that you could do what you love, you know, all your life. And yeah, you know, I'm retiring, but doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not going to stay in the game. So I know that there's other things for me to do.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk with you about those as we go. I have some ideas.
Awesome.
My last piece is you have been so great over the years to answer my questions. So, as I always do on Wake Up Call, rapid fire, giving me the opportunity to put myself on the hot seat. I don't know any other broadcaster that will purposely do this. I don't know anybody in the media that will answer a question, or honestly. But I'm here. You got 3 questions, a trio. Anything in the world. I have no idea what you're going to ask me, but I have to answer it. So whenever you're ready.
Oh my God. I'm usually really good at asking questions. You should have prepared me on this one. Who?
I gotta have it off the cuff.
Besides me, who's the best person you've interviewed?
Besides you, who's the best person I interviewed? I would have to say it's a cross between one that was for the show and one that wasn't. That would be Floyd Little and,
nice.
and my grandma, my Gina. I would ask her about my grandfather and her and World War II and record it. And because she actually ended up building like the 15 caliber guns and did all this stuff. And in her 90, like her arms, these little tiny arms, they were so strong, like stones, like just metal, that if she like arm wrestled you, this little tiny 90-pound woman, because I mean, she did all this stuff. I mean, she raised a family. She had to learn how to be a mom without a mom. Like my grandmother, all these stories, I love her so much. And yeah, Floyd. I mean, Floyd is.
Well, he sounded like a remarkable person.
One of my closest friends, and it broke my heart. But all the memories I have with him, I know that I spent my time. I would like to think I spent my time well with him. So
that's cool. And are you doing exactly what you want to be doing, or is there do you have other goals?
There's plenty. So I actually just talked about this recently. There's a lot of S's. It's funny. I've been involved with music, so like singing, screenwriting, stand-up. There's all these S things I want to do. But, you know, I see myself as a storyteller, which is also an S. And, you know, between screenwriting and doing music, and I mean, I think about it like if I made a movie and I could screenwrite it, direct in it, help bring it to life, act in it, sing on the soundtrack, I guess that would do it all. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like God put inside me that I really want to share. And it comes with having the love and trust in yourself. I truly believe if I say to God, I'm ready to do it, then he's like, here. So it's just about really not caring what the world thinks, because, you know, if an opinion is hateful or derogatory, I mean, it doesn't mean people don't agree, but if it doesn't come from God, I'm not listening. So I could be the best actor in the world, people are going to hate it. Be the best broadcaster, people are going to hate it. You could be the best coach, you know, people are going to hate it. So I think what you realize is when you stop thinking about what people think and you start thinking about what God thinks and if you really feel like you can lay your head on a pillow at night and be proud of yourself. If we stopped thinking about the rest of the world and just took care of home base, I think we'd be a lot better. So I am a storyteller, and I look forward to the opportunity of God allowing me to tell my stories in many different ways to hopefully help people smile and make their life a little bit better.
Beautiful. And what are you most grateful for?
My life, God giving me second chances, realizing my worth, spending this entire last year working on a healthy mind, a healthy body. I've never been in a better place in my mind, and I've never been healthier as a human being physically. So I think when I finally put in the work to take care of myself from the inside out without needing anything from the outside in, I think, the reality of it all is you have to be your best friend. You have to love yourself. You have to believe in yourself. I've always believed in my dreams and I've always chased them, but I haven't always been the kindest person to myself. So I think I'm most grateful today that I love Dan Tortora, and my happy place is wherever I am, because I know God's there. I know the people that care about me are a phone call or a text message away, and I could not be more proud of the life that I have chosen to build the way that I've chosen to build it. And I don't think there's an army on this planet that could beat my army. So
that's awesome.
So those are my words. Those are incredible questions from Gina Castelli.
I have to share that to my team on Friday when I talk to them again. Yeah.
Gina, thank you
very much, Dan. Really appreciate you. Yeah.
And I look forward to talking with you very soon. And like I said, I got some ideas.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks. Look forward to it. Okay. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Head out there and download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store, which is extremely user-friendly. It has a map of how to get to the Millhouse Market from wherever you are, plus it has their entire menu and gives you all the information that you need on every single thing on their menu, from the quinoa bowls to the rice bowls to the salads, as well as the homemade breads and desserts and pizzas and sandwiches that are named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds. They are open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And when I say they are open those days, that means that 3 different opportunities await you at the Millhouse Market, from their drive-through, grab-and-go window to their indoor dining and their general store, which helps support local companies in the area to extend out and pay it forward even farther in Pulaski and beyond that in central and upstate New York. The Millhouse Market, helping the community, helping each and every single one of us, and giving us those flavors that go well beyond quenching our palate and truly give us something to come back to every single time. The most difficult decision that you'll ever make is deciding between items that you love so very much at the Millhouse Market. Millhouse on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. With that being stated here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank all of you for listening and watching today. Appreciate you so very much, whether you are on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, on wakeupcalldt.com, or on facebook.com/livenowdt, or on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week, Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, and of course my co-host Juanita Ward. I want to thank Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding of East Syracuse for joining me to help congratulate and celebrate Gina Castelli. And of course, I want to thank Gina Castelli for all that she brings to today's show, but all she's brought to my life for the last 8 years. So, and counting. So a lot of great stuff here, and awesome stuff. My guy Rob Drummond, my brother, said Aruba says hello to the Wake Up Show. So what up, Aruba? How you doing? I'm happy that Wake Up Call has now, for the first time ever that I know, played live in Aruba. So awesome, Rob. Thank you for letting me be a part of that history as we are live in Aruba right now. So great stuff. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Please be safe. I'll be back with you next week with a ton of great stuff, great specials, great people as always. And, of course, the ingredients to success. Papa Joe, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, the Annoying Moment of the Week, lead, and the Top Dog of the Week that you have every single week with you, as well as fantastic surprises. So have yourself a great weekend. Please be safe. Please be well. Please take care of yourself. Get your rest and love yourself. Take a walk in the park today. You won't regret it. And just, be the best you can possibly be. Know to control what you can control. Love your life. Love the opportunities you have. And don't waste a second. Don't waste a second. Okay? And tell the people you love that you love them. And please love yourself. As always, you can find us on social media at WakeUpCallDT on Facebook, at CallDT on Twitter, at WakeUpCall_DT on Instagram, WakeUpCallDT.com 24/7, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT 24/7. So, and of course, every Monday through Friday, we are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. On Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, on WakeUpCallDT.com, as well as on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. So plenty of ways to watch and listen to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and those archives will be updated. I promised you that this week, and you will get exactly that. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, as well as TuneIn Radio and Podbean. You can check us out on all of those venues, and I very much look forward to having you with us in all of these beautiful places. So make sure that you check us out and have some fun with us where sports truly meets that thing called life by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on all of our outlets. And a proud thank you to our partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, as well as Chick-fil-A Cicero, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Honda City of Liverpool, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Millhouse Market, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com today and get 20% off by using the promo code DT20. That's DT20. That's DT20. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20 to get 20% off anywhere in the United States. So, I hope you have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. Please take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'm proud of each and every single one of you, and I send you all my love. Be well. I'll talk to you soon.